I had a crazy trading day today, just absolutely nuts.
Is that crazy good or crazy bad?
Uh, just unbelievable. Unbelievable. I've been in a just a zone.
Okay.
Unbelievable. And I know, when I tell you guys, I would not believe it myself. But these are statements and they're live state. They're my live personal accounts and they're not demo accounts. Um, I know it's easy to be conned on the internet. I know a lot of people make these misrepresentations and they get these hypothetical track records off, my FX book or something, but this is my actual live trading accounts. And
Hmm.
I talk about it every day. That's the thing. So, I show you or talk about what I'm doing every day. So it's pretty hard to fake that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I understand the skepticism. So Andrew says, are you still in the spare room? Yeah. And so you'll notice that there's actually a pole behind me here. I've had surgery and I'm in this boot. I've been in this cast for 7 weeks now, and I might have to be in for several more months because I retore my Achilles tendon. So it's really hard for me. I'm kind of getting around on one leg, and so I have to
Well,
pull myself up. And so my wife just thought she'd put this pole in my room here, and I asked her if I could stick a girl on there. She
how did
wasn't
that
too.
conversation go?
Yeah, she wasn't too charmed with me, but my wife, knows my crazy sense of humor, and as long as I make money, I guess she puts up with me. And I guess I don't
I
even
think
tell
I
her.
think I think that's the
I,
truth
I
for all of us, right?
I don't tell her how much I make because I don't want to tell her when I lose.
Hmm.
So and I also like her to think that we're very close to being homeless. So just keep her honest.
Keep her on her toes.
Keep her on her toes. Yeah, keep her out of
Right.
the shopping mall. But no, yeah, she's a good woman. Um, so I guess I can get started.
And
So
we have a few people. We have people all over the world on here. We have people from Spain, Belgium, Macedonia. If everyone else can put in the chat where you're streaming in from, that'd be great.
um, yeah, I knew some woman, and Joan said, "Wow, that's really sexist." When I said I'm going to put a woman on the poll, I knew there was going to be some outrage there somewhere. I think we're just way too sensitive. I'm, older generation and this Me Too and this politically correct stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, Harvey Weinstein here, but I think we have to have a little sense of humor. I think we're getting
Okay.
so bent out of shape on so many things. And I knew when I said that it would rattle some cages. So,
Oh well,
uh,
Joan said she was actually talking about hiding the money.
I'm hiding the money. Yeah, that
um,
too. Look, I have this crazy sense of humor, and I know in a corporate environment today,
oh, you would not last very long.
I would last about 4 seconds.
Yep.
And I think we're just losing our sense of humor. We're just in these traps
Yeah.
now where everyone's peeing in their pants, afraid of what they
Hmm.
can say, what they can't say. I know on these webinars, I want to say certain things and I don't, and it's like what's correct. So
Yeah.
what?
Interestingly enough, Mark, I do shows with a comedy guy, a guy who does comedy, and so he does comedy shows for corporate clients, and it's just crazy. Like every single comedian, every single joke they have to be so careful, tiptoeing around.
Well, that's my biggest fear now is that we're gonna. I mean, I love movies and I love comedians. My favorite comedian is Bill Burr. And he's one
Hmm.
guy who will BURR, Bill Burr. He is
Yeah.
by far the best. And he doesn't give a, he walks to the edge and then, goes over.
Yep.
And I really worry that now the art is going to be corrupted, that,
Yeah. 10 years from
movies,
now, we won't have comedy.
look at the Academy Awards. I think 4 people watched it this year because every movie was some empathetic thing, some storyline that had to be this. It was micromanaged to have every different color of the rainbow person in there. And so look, I'm getting old, and I can't stand what's going on now. Yes, I think we have to treat everybody with dignity, and it's the content. Martin Luther said it's not the color of your skin, it's the content of your character. But now it's actually become about the color of your skin, white and black. There's racism again. So look, I don't want to go down this.
Yep.
this
Yeah, it's a rabbit hole, right? But we have people streaming in from Canada, Malaysia, Manchester, England. We have London. We have Maryland, Queensland, Australia, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome, Caribbean in the house. Yeah, so we have you can see in the chat we have people streaming in from all over the world.
Sydney, Australia, Norway, Germany. Yeah. So, this is when I started the Pattern Trader, and many, people, say, well, if you're making this money, why do you do this? And I answered this yesterday, and probably it's the right question even today, because I've made about 500 grand. I don't even know, probably something in that ballpark in the last 2 or 3 trading days. And I say I don't know because I don't really keep track. I just shovel it into my account and then move on to the next trade. And then people say, well, that's just, there's no way, this guy would be doing webinars if he's doing that. And so, but what I realized when I did the Pattern Trader is that I meet guys like Wayne from Sydney and Jesper from Germany and Tendon from the UK. And I have this whole, second family, and I just get a gas. I mean, I look at the markets all day. I talk to my friends about the markets. And to me, this is, pretty second nature. So I really enjoy this, and I get a charge out of it. And, if you want to second guess it, I would probably also, but then don't listen to what I'm making. I'm not trying to show you what I make just to brag. I'm trying to show you that if you identify certain things in the market, one thing leads to the other. So forget how much I'm making or not making. Every day I tell you what I'm doing, and then I show you what I did and, what occurred. So I just, just had a ballistic day today, and I guess be all over the place. And, it was really in the stock market, but I'm going to, start, in the FX market, because at the beginning of the week, I said, there's one trade that's going to go up 1,000 pips. And this was in the pound versus New Zealand dollar. And you can see that, yesterday out of this coil, we exploded higher. So I started talking about this trade 3 days ago. I'll show you that it's on my open position list. And, I talked about this every day. So, you can't say, well, I'm a fraud. When you see my P&L, it's like, you just picked it out of nowhere. I've been talking about this day after day, and, I will week after week and on and on. So, wrong drawing tool here. So I just try and get rid of all this distraction here. So this is the British pound versus New Zealand dollar. And I guess just to digress, if you haven't been part of this, so welcome again to this is the 3rd of the 4-day live execution webinar series. My name again is Mark Schausen, and what I try and do is identify risk reward trading setups in all kinds of markets. So this week, you've heard, you've seen me doing trades in gold, FX, stocks, stock indexes. So I look at all the trades the same way through the prism of kind of an aesthetic. And when I say aesthetic, I mean, some of it implies, subjectivity, which it is. It's my interpretation. But it really comes down to certain defined patterns that I look at. So I talked that all the way buried in this price action, while it doesn't look like it, this chart kind of looks like it's all over the place. But to me, this has been the governing price action. This is going to govern and dictate prices for, several days, weeks, months, and possibly years going forward. And so these are the patterns that I hone in on once I kind of identify these patterns. So then you can see this had kind of a, double bottom here. It had a bit of a, cup and handle or whatever you want to call it here. But once it clears the neckline over here, then it just, once you see the pattern and then it clears the neckline, then it then confirms what you're looking at. So this is a double bottom, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Market makes one low, backs off the low, retests the low, and now you have a W or double bottom. And even though this occurred back in December, 4 or 5 months ago, this has been my reference for trading this thing for the last couple of days, the last couple of weeks. And actually, I showed even on the weekly chart that my guidance goes well back to 5 years ago, where there was the same double bottom price pattern on the weekly. So once we understand a market has bottomed, then over time, it can only do what? It can only go higher. But here's the thing. The market hides its true intentions. I always say the market's like a magician. It's showing, it's waving over here while it's pulling the rabbit out of the hat over here. So even though, this bottom really confirmed itself here, you can see that every, couple of days, you have this carnival ride. And if you're watching this on a 15-minute chart or an hour chart, or even this daily chart, it looks whippy, it looks crazy, it looks all over the place. But to me, I just have faith in the pattern. So when, something comes down, to me, I just buy into that. I'm going to show you how something opened lower today. When the stock market opened 500 points lower, the Dow Jones, again, it's like Wayne Gretzky says, I don't skate to where the puck is, I skate to where the puck is going to be. So this is the misdirection. This will take your eye off the ball, but if you understand what the ball is, then you understand that that is a giant opportunity. So while that was coming off, I was buying that thing. And so, now based on the long-term patterns and all of this stuff, you can see that we're going to start breaking out of here, and we probably started to today. So we're breaking out of this short-term thing. And, to me, it's not a question of if, but when this thing shoots much higher. I said 3 days ago, there's 1,000 pips on the table. I still feel the same way, even though we shot a bit higher. So you can see that over the last couple of days, and I talked about this, is that the market started building energy. We have this coil. And what I mean by the coil is that the daily ranges of the past 4 days, from high to low, here is a small inside day bar, here is another bar, here is another bar, and then there is the fourth bar. So all of those daily ranges, the last 4 days, let me just kind of, that bar, that bar, that bar, and this guy. All of these daily ranges sat within the range 5 days ago. So this is why I call it an inside day or inside coil. In this case, when you have 4 days, so that means for the last 4 days, all you've been doing is going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and building and ratcheting up that energy. And then you surmise where the energy is going to unleash and uncork and uncoil, and it's going to be in the direction, of the pattern and the trend. And so, I said this 3 days ago, and now you're seeing it today. So to me, I'm not shocked. This was my email. Let me find it. A couple days ago. Let me just move this out of the way. So this was, when was it? It was Monday, and we're now Wednesday. 3 days ago, this is when you only had, these three guys. And I said, put a buy stop here at 196.27. I said, I'm already long at 194.87. And then I showed you the cup and handle and the double bottom and the whole thing. And this is what I send out every day to those on our elite member list. And if you're interested in that, obviously we can talk to you about it. So that was a couple days ago. And then that trade actually didn't get triggered. In order to confirm the trade, I say, you should put a buy stop. So this required the market to run in the trade. And on Monday, the market didn't run into the trade, but I saw that the setup was still valid. And so yesterday I said, this is a repeat of yesterday's trade setup, which was not triggered. And you can see the small, narrow inside day bar on this particular email. And so these are the emails that preceded, me getting in these positions. And actually, for me, I took pretty light positions in something that I feel very strongly about. But I will keep adding to this position. As it goes, further and further in here, I'll get another key reversal or inside day bar. And I'm going to keep adding because, I've been sitting in this trade for a couple weeks now. And just because I'm up cumulatively 350 pips on my trades, people are happy to get 50 pips in this business. I'm up 350 and I'm not going anywhere. I'm looking for, much bigger game, in the pound versus New Zealand dollar. So before I go, any further, are there any questions on this trade? I've been talking about this for 3 days. This to me is just, when I came on Monday, I said this was the best risk reward setup in the FX market that I could see. I've been in the yen trades. I mean, there's all kinds of trades, but to me, this is just the beginning of what I think is just going to be a monster move higher. 500 pips, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 pips. And, I'm not being hyperbolic. Dylan says, is it too late to enter? No, I think there's going to be 1,000 pip move above here. But what I like to do is kind of get it as the horse is coming out of the gate, which it basically has. You can see it's just basically above these tops here. So, I caught it, right here above yesterday's inside day bar. But no, this thing is going to go a lot higher. Prepel said, do couple and handle patterns always move to the upside? So yes, those are basically, you have a cup and handle. It depends. You have an inverted cup and handle too. So in this case, you have, let me just kind of use another color here. Maybe this isn't the right color. So this is the cup and handle. So that is a bottoming price pattern. Now you can have an upside down cup and handle, and that is a reversal price pattern. So in the case of this one, this is a bottoming price pattern. And with the word bottom in it, this is just forming a massive bottom. And with the word bottom in it, what is this thing going to do? It's going to go higher. Let me just draw this right here. So you can see we really haven't even reached the cusp of this thing being formally a breakout yet. And then if you want to measure from high to low, from this neckline, 198 to 185, 1,300 pips, take 75% of that, I think you go at least 1,000 pips north of here. I think you're going to have a monster move, 2,000 pips. So no, it's not too late to get in. This is, a buy and hold, if there's such a thing in FX. Close your eyes and just let it go. So here's Mustafa says, I did £1 New Zealand, added another, made a decent profit. I saw the profit. I couldn't keep the position and I will re-enter. So yeah, I mean, look, this has been a carnival ride, up, down, and sideways. So it shakes the leaves. It shakes your confidence. But Mustafa, I think you've been on all of my webinars. You see me every day. You speak to me every day. And I've been like, this is all I talk about. You got to be long pound New Zealand. When it was coming off here and everyone thought, wow, it looks like a head and shoulders and it looks scary here. It's like, it's always best to buy when there's blood in the streets. And this key reversal right here told me that likely that we weren't going to go much lower. So it was this pattern. So as long as you understand the patterns, the pattern dictates the trajectory. And sometimes, things go all off course, but I use those as opportunities. So when things come flying back in my face, to me, that's an opportunity. I had the most unbelievable trade today. And I'll show you. So, when something's, looks like it's a sell-off, and it's getting murdered, then, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Today the stock market got murdered. I told you yesterday that it would. I expected it to kind of open higher. I was going to sell into the opening, and instead it opened, much lower. And I'll talk about that in a minute. What would be the best entry to go long? So at this point, you just got to close your eyes and just buy it at the market and put a very wide stop, 300 pip stop. So you can see on my email, I had like a, whatever, a 200 pip stop or what have you. I think I closed out the email. I had a 200 pip stop. You know, here's, so anything more on this chart, pound New Zealand? I mean, I've been, you know, pounding away all week. And this to
Hey, I'm
me
not
is
sure if
what?
not sure if this is relating to this chart, but this question is coming from YouTube. John is asking, how do you raise your SL after after your trade starts moving in the direction you want?
Good question. So always the discussion of the stop loss and the take profit, you know, comes up, and it's more of an art than a science. And so I think I just closed out that trade. Let me try and pull it back up. So, um, sorry, that has my email on it. So let me just. So you can see, you know, try and put my stop loss, and I showed you on the stop calculator, on the risk calculator, how to position size. So it doesn't matter how big your stop loss is, it's the size of your position. And I recommended that you take a 1% risk, you know, on this position. And this was an add-on, so I'm already in profit. I already have, you know, 250 pips coming into this, and now I'm adding, and today it was up another, whatever, 70 pips or something like that. So cumulatively, I'm up 350 pips on these two positions. So I had a stop loss of 194.27. And even though, you know, we kind of were trading 194.87, I kind of still leave the stop loss there just because I'm lazy, you know, I'm just why up, you know. I don't want to get taken out by some artificial or arbitrary noise. Now, I think a lot of the noise has been taken out, and now the ride is going to be a lot smoother. And then also the take profit, you know, is all the way up here. So what is this? 500 pips away, 560 pips away. And, you know, it's really an artificial take profit. It's sitting somewhere up there, you know, and if, you know, this thing went up 550 pips today and took me out, I go, well, you know, thank you very much. And I'll take 550 pips on one trade in a night. But to my mind, what I do is I put the take profit in. Where's my, here it is. So in this case, the stop loss was what? 194.27. So the entry was there, 196.27. The stop loss is there. So that's my risk. And 201.87 is my reward. But frankly, you know, that would just be the first stop. If, you know, what I try and do is I set up my trade with the stop loss and the take profit. So, you know, this was my entry, and this was my stop loss and my take profit. And then I see how the trade starts dancing once my trade is triggered. So now it's starting to say, wow, this is starting to go in the direction that I anticipate. And so, you know, if it keeps going, then I'm not going to, you know, stop it from making me more profits. I'll keep moving my take profit away. And then, you know, I will in tranches move my stop loss. But I don't want to move. So you can see that now my trade was triggered right here. And now I'm like in 60 or 70 pips profit. So I'm not going to just move my stop loss here and crowd this trade. If I think I can make 1,000 pips on this thing, I don't want to get, you know, duked out on some artificial thing before it gets going. And so I'm going to leave my stop loss hanging back there. You know, just going to leave it. You know, goes up tomorrow, and, you know, I may move it a little bit. But I feel I know where this is going. So I don't want to crowd it out. I don't want to, you know, just smacked out of this trade. So I want to leave my stop loss hanging back here. I know it's a, you know, a very good, you know, very, you know, instinct that, you know, it's so rare that we get into profits that we just want to protect it. So now we're up 70 pips, and now a lot of people will just move it to break even. And then you get some artificial thing here and you get taken out, and then it goes. So I just stay with these parameters. And then if the thing starts moving, you know, then I'll start slowly moving my stop loss, you know, incrementally. But I don't want to crowd the trade. I want to leave this behind. And then, as I see it hurtling toward my objective, I'm going to move it out of the way also. So, it really depends what my vision is for the trade. And it's not my vision, it's what the market is telling me. And then I start adjusting these things according. Now, each trade is going to be different. So now I might add, to this trade. As this thing goes higher, I might see a kind of a setup here where it hangs up, comes back down, puts a key reversal, an inside bar, and I might add to my trade up here or, somewhere there. So now my objective for this trade is going to be a little bit different than when I started this trade. So it really depends where you get in, where you are in the trade. There will naturally be some turbulence right around this level. So if I get in here, obviously, it's going to be a different kind of, look than when I got in here. So I'm not trying to, evade the question. It just depends on the setup. So, and in this case, I keep a wide trailing stop because I feel like I have 1,000 pip profit. So why am I going to put a 60 pip stop loss and get myself duped out of something that is going to go much higher? So Yasver says, do you set a time limit? No. The market will, I can't tell where the market's going to go. I just feel like this thing's going to go higher. In what time frame? It could be 2 weeks. It could be 2 months. It could be 8 months. I sat in this trade for 13 months. Back here, I got in down here and I sat in it pretty much till up there and sat in this thing for about 13 months. So now, I'm in this thing. I think you're going to take out these highs. When? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm in profits and I'm just going to watch this thing keep going profitable and then it'll go up and I'm going to keep adding at some point. And I'll just sit in this trade. I'm not watching it every day. I'm not watching it every minute. I think I got the tiger by the tail. And now, I'm just going to let this thing, go where it's going to go.
A quick question from
Mohammed says,
Pedro.
on my weekly memberships, do I send out trades on my Sunday for the week? Yes, I do. Sorry, go ahead, Dwight.
Yeah, question from Pedro is, do you recommend a wide trailing stop on GN?
On what?
On GN? Not sure if that's a currency or...
GN?
Yeah.
I don't know what GN is. Oh, pound New Zealand? Yeah, I just said, I put a 200 pip stop on this trade and I'll leave it there. So if it's up, another 100 pips on me, I might just leave it there. So my trailing... So, and then I'll keep trailing it. I mean, based on what the market is doing. So I can't say what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. It's more of an art than a science. Really what I want to do is I have a vision for this trade. I think this trade is going much higher. So, I know it's human nature. You want to take it. Now you've got a 200 pip profit and a 300 pip profit. And most of you have never seen that in your account before. And so it's human nature to want to take it. But to me, it all starts with a vision of what's going on here. And the fact that this has kind of been hanging out so long, it just tells me, it just feels like we're building up to a monster move. And, here is the double bottom on the weekly and this, kind of cup and handle. So now you're coming back to this 198 resistance. And once it's cleared this, there's nothing but air up here. And I think it's going to explore those blue skies. So where it's going to go, I don't know, 205, 215, 221. Any of those numbers is possible. When is it going to do it? I have no clue. I just kind of get in at a time where I can understand the risk reward. And then if, it depends on my vision for the trade, and I can't say it's more times, my vision for this trade is much higher. So even if I've got a 500 pip profit in this trade, I may dance out of it somewhere here. I mean, the markets do get to, corrections and then they come off. And so, I might take 30% off or 40% off at certain areas. And then I'll, readjust it and put it back on. All right. So, I've spent a lot of time there. I've talked about pound New Zealand all week, and you're starting to see it head in the direction that I spoke about on Monday. So this is not a surprise to me. And the markets tell me, I don't know anything about the monetary policy of the UK, New Zealand, the trade exports. I'm making all of my buy sell decisions, my risk reward decisions, just based on price structure. And this is what I look at. The market has a structure. So, yes, I appreciate that most people, when they open this thing, and this is a hard one, it just looks like this. This is a carnival ride and it's a pick 'em, it could go there and it could go there. And, so the way I kind of try and sort out ambiguity is dig within the prices and look for patterns and price action that start telling me, where something is going to head. And so even though it's coming down this way, to me, this was the driving pattern. So this is the magician's misdirect. So, Wayne Gretzky says, I don't skate to where the puck is, I skate to where it's going to be. So, with trading, you have to have a vision. You have to know what's going on. And if you're watching this on a 15-minute chart, that's going to look like the world's ending. And, if you're not short, then, you got to be short on a trade like this. So remember, this is a weekly chart. So this came down for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. So you compress that time on a 15-minute chart pattern, and you think you're getting short, and then it's up your bum. So I look at the bigger patterns, the monthly, the weekly, the daily. And why so everyone says, well, can I do this on the 15-minute chart or the 4-hour chart? Yes, you can find double bottoms and, head and shoulders and all of that. But the thing is, a double bottom on a 15-minute chart, the market can go anywhere, in 15 minutes. So yeah, you might get 40 pips off a double bottom before it turns back in your face, but you won't understand what it is you're trading. You certainly won't be able to take out a 500 pip move by trading off a 15-minute chart, because you simply can't understand the history or the cards you're holding. So, sorry, this is a distraction there. So by peeling back, so remember, what I'm trying to do is take chunks out of the middle of these monster trades. You see these trades going 1,500 pips in one way or the other. All I'm trying to do is take a piece of the middle of something like this. And I do it all day long. But, this requires sitting in these trades for weeks.
Quick, couple of people are asking if you could comment on the pound versus yen and Canadian versus yen.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just, I could pull up 1,000 charts. I've been recommending that people get long these yen trades. I think they're breaking out. In fact, today I had another yen trade. You can see that the pound yen is trading right at a resistance level, but I think it's on the cusp of a major breakout to the upside. And to me, again, the driving pattern is this double bottom head and shoulders, and we broke out around the 150 area. And then we retested it. And I love when you come back and you retest the neckline. And so now you're right at this resistance level. And I said to, our members that there's going to be a lot of headwinds. There's going to be a lot of turbulence here. It's going to be a bumpy ride. You probably get a huge pullback. But again, I would buy this pullback in the anticipation of that trajectory. So that's the pound yen. Today, I sent out an email. Where is it? So this is today's email that went out just a moment ago, recommending to buy the dollar yen. And I've been shorting the dollar yen for the last several years, but I think we're on the cusp of a weakening of the yen. That's gonna, so. And I said in my notes, I said I'm currently long both euro yen and pound yen. Today's setup is highly correlated to the Japanese yen and does not offer true diversification. So if you're going to be long euro yen, pound yen, and dollar yen, you have to be aware that you're on the same side of that trade. but I think you can be in all of those trades for the long term. And then I also had a buy stop on CrowdStrike, CRWD. I'll talk about that in a moment based on, what I'm seeing in the market there. So you can see my emails, offer, information and setups on, all kinds of trading instruments. So let me just kind of tell you guys, every day I kind of show you what I do. I don't do it to brag, and I show you the losses too. I show you just because I'm an educator, but I'm a trader first and mostly. I started this business to kind of educate people in what I do and how I do it. But I trade the markets every day, and I've been showing you what I've been doing. I talk to you about what I'm doing, and forget about the money, the size, the whatever. People say, well, you have a big account, so I can't be doing what you're doing, and that's just bollocks. I showed you yesterday, if you use a risk calculator and understand the risk of your trades, you could trade all of these markets and stay in them. So yesterday I told you, based on the setup I was looking at, that I was very bearish on the stock market, that I thought that there was going to be a big move lower. And coming into yesterday, I bought the Dow Jones put options. A put is a derivative. It's a bet on an instrument going down. And I actually started buying puts on the Dow early yesterday before it closed down 250 points in the late market yesterday. And then in today's session, it just opened down 500 points. So even an hour before trading, the market was already down 500 points. So my whole plan was to, sell into a higher opening, anticipating that it was going to go lower. And it went today and it fulfilled, its objective. I was looking for a 500, point move, and it just actually opened 500 points lower. And you can see that, between where I got in, yesterday and where I got out today, I made 97 grand on those options. I bought them for 120, and I think I sold them for somewhere around 5. I made 400 to 500% overnight, being long these put options in the Dow Jones. Now the whole story's been turned around, but that was then. I covered these trades, and I was also short Tesla. It also opened down $30. I was short 1,000 shares in this account and like 5,000 shares in the other account, and ended up making 120 grand right on the open. As the market opened, I just closed these trades out. And then I got on the other side, and I'll explain to you why. So then I started to see a setup in CRWD. I mean, sometimes the market just gives you a gift. And when the market was opening 500 points lower, CRWD was $8 lower. But, I could see that there's just no way that this thing was going to go any lower. So I backed up the money truck. I bought 9,000 shares for $1.7 million and made about 53 grand in this thing in about an hour. It went from 191 where I got into 198. I got out of this position, and then, I saw it closed well, and I got back into a smaller position on the close, and I'll show you that. I was also long the calls of CRM, which I was talking about the other day, and I still think, you should be long that stock. And then I was long the calls of Lyft, and I made just a little, nice 60 grand scoop out in about an hour, and I closed out these trades, and then I reloaded them back by the end of the day. So this is some of my trades just going into tomorrow. At the close, I just saw it close strong. So I bought all of these Lyft calls, which is a bet on the upside. I bought the QQQs, which is an ETF, which is a bet on the upside of the stock market. I got back into CRWD, and then I bought SNOW, all on the close here. So, made like $3,600 3 minutes before the close. And I, now it's just a bet on what's going to happen, tomorrow. So we'll see what's, going to happen tomorrow, but I'm showing you what I do now. So, and these are my positions in FX. You can see here's the pound New Zealand that got executed 196.27. Here's the other one over there. And so I'm making pretty small profits there. I'm going to start bailing out of these Canadian dollars. I kind of think that they're at a place where there's some support. So in my email tonight, I recommended that our members closed their short. So I made collectively, whatever, 800 pips in dollar Canadian, just sitting in this for a couple of weeks. So where is this email? No, this isn't it. Sorry, I've got so many. So here it is. So, in my emails, I also direct our traders to close. So you can see cumulatively, I have 256 and 326 pips profit respectively in dollar Canadian. I've been sitting in this short position for almost a month now, and made a nice 600 pips on those positions. I'm also recommending closing this Aussie dollar position, as it looks like the dollar's getting a little stronger here. So these were my trades yesterday. I think I showed you, where I turned around a $50,000 deficit or $65,000 deficit from the day before into a $50,000 profit. And these were the options yesterday that I showed you. The Dow Jones, they closed at 192. I think I bought them at about 108, and I got out of them around 450. So I made about 450% on these things in a day, just on the opening. And then this was yesterday's P&L, and on and on. So Nick says, you probably do not have losses. Here are my losses. So on day one, when I met you guys, I showed you that I was 65 grand in the hole. I was losing 50 grand on this Tesla position, and I ended up making 5 grand on the position. Where is it?
Mark, Nick is actually asking.
Right there. What?
Nick is actually asking. He says every trader has a painful loss memory. What was your biggest loss trading? And I'll add to that question by asking, what was your biggest lesson learned from that?
Okay, so, and that is a great question, Nick. And so I told you that, I started trading in, the late 70s. I was mentored by this guy, and I started trading the commodities futures markets. And right around the time that I came in, you're talking about actually about, I was a junior in college, and I was introduced to the commodity future markets at the time where this is the first time where we had the most massive bull run in history, where gold went from $200 to $1,000, which in 1979 was massive. Silver went to $50, which is even higher than it is today. And these guys, the Hunt brothers, Bunker Hunt, was actually cornering the silver market. So there was so much action at the time, but all I remembered was that, all of these things kept going higher. So long story short, from meeting Graham and being exposed to the markets, I knew that I just wanted to be around the markets, and I wanted to learn how to trade. So I ended up getting my stockbroker's license, and then I decided I wanted to, trade commodities. So I got a commodity futures, Series 3 license, and I was a commodity broker for Merrill Lynch and some of the very big brokers. And we're talking about 1982. I had like 15 grand in my account. And this is kind of how, even in my mind, this is, from seeing charts, I try and picture how they're going to be made up. And I remember to this day, I can kind of already, I know the prices. So silver careened down to about $7.92. And then it bounced off that low. And I could see it was going to come back and retest that low. And I was visualizing when it did that it would create a double bottom and go higher. So from a start of 15 grand, and I'm not kidding you, I put a limit at 794, right where that thing was going to, and it picked me up. It came, and then the prices started to shoot up. And I started getting the feeling that I was onto something. And I was just, this is when I was insane. I leveraged this was in the commodity futures markets where you're on significant leverage, stocks, you have like 2-to-1. Commodities, it's like, 50-to-1. And I took that whole 15 grand and I put everything I could in at 794. And then the thing started building profits, and I kept adding to the profits and adding to the profits and adding to the profits. And then every day I had a day trading thing, and then I would kind of add more to my position, add more leverage to the bonfire, and it kept on going to the point where it went from 794. I can remember this was in 1982, and I can still remember these numbers. It went from 794 where I bought it all the way to 1032. And in that move, I was 25 years old. I made $280,000 in 3 weeks. From 15 grand, I made $280,000 on that trade. But that was, you talk about a lesson. So I remember that it gapped up to 1032, and then it closed on the low of the day at 1020. Now I always talk to you about these reversals, and I'll show you some reversals today. And I thought, I was still looking at the pattern, and I was still emotionally involved in the thing. And now I saw the money, and I was so leveraged up that I ignored what the market was telling me. The next day I lose 70, 80 grand. And then I think, well, the pattern's still good, this and that. Next day I lose another 60 grand. And then I lose some more. And then I just lost all of my self-esteem and whatever. And I went and trashed like most of it. And I don't know that I ever recovered from that. I mean, there's still that feeling inside of me all the time, which I think keeps me honest. But, I was 25. I was imagining, making a lot of money, that I could buy a home and this and that. Imagine and then all of a sudden, I had the reality. I had $280,000, which, 1982 was, money. And I guess, I came, face to face with everything that I imagined and dreamed. And it was really, I think it was a problem of the times. So my dad and Graham Loving, about a year or two earlier, started this account with $500,000. My dad put in 50 grand, Graham Loving put in 450,000. And in 1 year, Graham ran that account to $5 million. Now, at the same time, I was playing tennis with this guy, Ted Hartley. He was in a Clint Eastwood movie. He was in, some peripheral things. He married this woman, God, I forgot her name, Marjorie Meriwether Post or something like that. And Ted, when I was playing tennis with him, right at the time that I was trading with Graham, ran his account from nothing to $15 million. So I was around these guys that were just making these, ridiculous sums. And I thought, well, 280 grand, I'm imagining that I'm going to take that to this and that. And this is where, you can't be carried away with your dreams or any fantasies. You've got to be really objective. Anyhow, Ted Hartley ended up losing every dollar of his $15 million. And we're talking about $15 million in 1980. When $15 million was $15 million, he ended up taking delivery. He was long all of these contracts of cotton. And, usually instead, when you're in the trading the futures, by the time you come to expiration, you just roll into the next one. Well, he ended up taking delivery. And then he got all this cotton and it rotted in, these storage shelters, and he lost 15 million bucks. And my dad went to him one day and he go, Ted, why didn't you, just keep 3 million or 4 million? You had $15 million. He says, you don't understand, Maurice. At that time, I thought I was going to be the richest man in America. So those were early days, early stories. And it took me a long time to recover emotionally and financially from that loss. And, now I heed the warnings. When I see key reversals and I see certain things, I kind of understand what they mean. So that was my biggest loss and biggest lesson. Now I've lost much more, but in relationship to my net worth, that was everything I own. I just cratered it. I had 280 grand and then I had almost nothing again. So yeah, that was That was an early lesson. So, my wife has been trading these cryptos and I've been begging her to get out. I said, when the market gives you 1,000% gain, you say, thank you very much. If it makes another 1,000%, fine. And, Bitcoin dropped from 65 grand to 30 grand today. So, I guess we all have to learn these lessons. But now, again, I try not to. So now I don't think in terms of money. I don't think in terms of fantasy. So I don't think, well, if I've got, 200,000 now, I'm going to run it to 1.5 million. And if I have 1.5 million, then I can get a boat. And, so you got to be careful of those dreams. I just see what's in front of me. I try and trade what's in front of me unemotionally. So I came in today. I talked to you yesterday. I expected a huge move down in the stock market, and we got it. And now, that was then, and this is now. I'll just kind of move into that phase. So I did so many trades today that I don't even know where to start, because I came in short the Dow. You can see that I started shorting the Dow. This is the Dow Jones Industrials. Right here, right at this left hash mark. I just started to see that it was stalling out at this potential double top high here. And again, this is where you have to have a little vision and what have you. It was luck. I started buying these puts right here at $1, and then it opened 500 points lower here. And I just got out and, made 450 on options that I paid $1 for yesterday. But you can see now we have this giant reversal where you made a new low and you close at the high. So you can see, let me just back out. Let me go to the NASDAQ, because I'll spend most of the time there.
Since you're going to NASDAQ, Mark, Jasper is asking, yesterday you said you were expecting NASDAQ to go down big.
I did, and look, it opened right here. Look, so I thought my vision today, is that, typically when you get a close like you did yesterday, where you close right on the low, and I was saying to you guys, what I'm, intend to do is that I'm going to sell into a higher opening. Well, we didn't have a higher opening. I think that was too much. No, I think that's all right. We opened right here. This is where we opened, this left hash mark. So we opened on the very low. So now look, I start watching the markets. The stock market opens, the futures are continuous, but the stock market and the triple Qs open at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so, 7:30, 8 o'clock, I start having my coffee and I watch the CNBC morning financial channel. And I could see the Dow Jones and this thing was down 600 points. So it kind of like obviated my whole plan. So I said to you yesterday that what I try and do is, try and do this rubber band thing where if I see something close on the low like this, and I think it's going to go lower, I hope it kind of opens a little higher. And then my whole thing was to short it. And then, this was the level that, I thought would be a lot of trouble. So that was my objective. My objective was to short it up here and get out somewhere in here and make 500 points on that and say, thank you very much. But I didn't even get a chance to do that. Luckily I bought those Dow puts yesterday, and the Dow and everything just opened on the very low. And I just took all of the profits right then and there. But you can see that, I'm not going to start getting short in the hole here. I'm not going to start selling it here. So, I always talk about this rubber band approach where you want to get the market when it pulls back. So right here, I saw there was a double top and the market fell. And so this was the pullback. So this is the rubber band to then just send it in that direction. And so when I kind of talk about that in slang, that's what I mean. I had a trade today, and I'll show it to you in CrowdStrike where, CrowdStrike, the bar, CrowdStrike closed right here, and I'll show you. And then there was a pattern preceding it. So it looks arbitrary. And then the market just opened here. right there. It closed up here, and then because the market opened 500 points lower, CrowdStrike opened here. So I said this can't go much lower because it had a preceding double bottom, and there's no way. So to me, this was a gift. This was the rubber band. It was a pullback to go that way. And so, as Gretzky says, don't skate to where the puck is, skate to where it's going to be. So this is, and I'll do it, I should do it when I look at the CrowdStrike chart, but it's the pullback to then release. And so what I was looking at yesterday when I was talking to you guys was that I expected a down move. I expected that we would come back in here. And what I thought is that we would come a little bit into the bar from yesterday and then go. And then my intention was to sell into that. But, all good intentions, are, and we just opened there. We closed here and we opened there, 600 pips lower in the QQQs. So now, it was a whole different thing. So I have a whole menu of stocks stocks that I'm looking to short, and then a whole menu of stocks that I'm looking to buy. And once I saw the thing was, going to open 500 points lower, I expected some kind of reaction. I didn't know if we were going to close all the way at the high or whatever. So then I started looking at the stocks that I want to buy, thinking that, this is just, an opportunity. But let's just stick to the NASDAQ for now. So the NASDAQ has been kind of hewing to this huge, and you can see every time it kind of goes to these things, these are, points where it bounces off. And so now by virtue of the way we closed, it actually looks like we're going to go back up. So yeah, I said, I'm looking to sell yesterday, and now I'm telling you that I'm looking to buy. Look, the market is fluid. And so I'm just looking at, there's a whole bunch of stocks now that closed really well. Now, again, I have not really been playing the indexes just because I've been shorting a lot of stocks that are garbage, but the indexes have been held higher because the stronger stocks like Microsoft and Apple and Amazon have been holding it higher. So I haven't really been playing in the indexes, until I see a big move. And the thing is, even if you're looking to short, you've got to clear through all of this junk here. So look, I know I can't explain everything, I do and what I do, in all of these sessions, but I'm trying to just give you the bullet points. So you can see here, we've got this area of support where you have this double bottom here, and then it's this price action. So when, the market and some reversals, I don't say you should trade reversals in a vacuum. This could, end up being, a fake out here, but I'm thinking by virtue of the way a lot of these stocks closed, this could be, another one of these buying opportunities where every time you see these reversals, made a new high, close on the low, made a new high, close on the low, it pointed to a higher move. And this now looks like it could go back, to a higher move. Still not sure. It could be a fake out. So now I'm going to kind of leave the indexes alone. I did go long, on the QQQs. I'm betting that we're going to open higher. It still looks like a difficult trade. We've got to get through here. So, but when I look at the individual stocks, and I'll go through them all. So this is CRWD. And I realize, I'm kind of all over the place, and, the markets have just been so frenetic that my mind is still just, I'm still recovering from the day. I must have made 200 grand today or more. I came in making 127,000 on those options in Tesla. And then I day traded CRWD. And then I made, money in the FX space. So it's just been a crazy day. So this is CrowdStrike. And you can see that it has this, everything is kind of hugging this long-term trend line in the NASDAQ. And, some of these stocks like Tesla and others, they've started to break the trend line and, starting to look like that. And then others are starting to hold this trend line, and it could, be a basis for another push higher. Maybe not all the way. Maybe it goes to 320 and then pulls back, or maybe it goes to new highs. But I just felt that we were in an area here where you're right on this line. And then right here, you have this double bottom right there. And then you have this another double bottom here. This kind of looks like Salesforce also, where you have these, the one pattern all the way here that is telling you at bottom, then you kind of come, and this is the misdirect. The market bottom is the misdirect before it goes that way. So now you kind of have this double bottom and kind of a rounding bottom. But actually it's a double bottom right there and kind of also an inverted head and shoulders. So now once I kind of saw this pattern and this pattern, when the market opened 500 points lower, all of a sudden now I'm looking for stocks to buy. I'm looking, okay, which are the stocks that are on my radar that this could be a great opportunity, because you can see we opened here. We closed there last night around 197, whatever it is, and we opened there around 189. So I'm saying at this juncture to myself, and I'm looking at this chart, and I'm saying to myself, this is where we opened. So this is where we were trading this morning. We started there, and now it just opened here. And now you have to visualize in your mind, I'm saying to myself, can I see it going from here all the way through this stuff and going lower underneath here? And I said, no, there's nowhere for this to go but higher. I don't know how high, but again, it comes down to risk and reward. The low is like 189. I started buying this at 191 thinking, what's my risk on this thing? $2, $3, $4. And what's my upside? 30. So I just started, piling into this thing at 191. And again, where is it? Right there. It was at 198. I had 9,000 shares and I'd made 53 grand. So I bought around 191 and it, was at the daily resistance. So I got out and then I got back in by the close because it still looks great. So this was early in the morning and I started piling into all of these things when I saw that the market opened lower. So again, I'm not trying to, expect you to kind of get all of this, in one session, and I'm throwing so much, and a lot of it is just instinct and a lot of it is visualization. But again, it all comes down to patterns and price action. Now, some will say, well, you're trading intraday. You told us not to trade intraday. And, in some respect, that's true. But really what I'm trading is, first off, this is a daily chart. So I'm not trading a 15-minute chart. I'm not trading a 4-hour chart. This chart kind of starts telling me a picture where, up here, there was a nice double top and, I take those that way and the main trade is still higher. So the market throws you patterns all the time. There was like a head and shoulders in here and you could have taken that lower. So the market gives you looks all the time. And some looks are shorter than others. Some, like pound New Zealand, I have a much larger vision for. And now this, I don't know, this could go and, make new highs again. I think the risk reward of this is phenomenal. So now on tonight's, the email, I sent out to put a buy stop above today's high in CRWD, which is CrowdStrike, because here is the double bottom, the inverted head and shoulders. You have a double bottom here. And today was pretty much an inside day bar, where most of the range, it did sneak a little bit outside yesterday. Most of today's range is within the range of yesterday. So now you kind of have this coil, you have this bottom behind you. And so what I, recommend is putting a buy stop above today's high, sell stop, somewhere out of the way. And then, I think you're going to get one of these. Mohammed says, are you trading stocks on a daily basis? Yes. I trade FX. I look at everything. And so I look at everything on the close. I look at, how these things are setting up, where there's, a pattern, and then I wait for an opportunity. Now, typically I wait for a key reversal or I wait for, an inside day bar. But when, the market gives you a gift like this, where it closes there and then it opens, right on the low of its range yesterday. And then I'm saying, this thing, it can't go, it's not going to go lower. It's not going to open $8, it's not going to open here and then keep going that way. Not when you have all of this in, and I call this obstruction. And again, a lot of you won't, can't, understand this, I'm throwing a lot of concepts, but really it comes down to, where can you get good risk reward opportunities? And when you have, a bottom here and you have a bottom here and the market, opens down here, the 500 points lower, to me, that was just, I was telling my wife, she's here, I go, this is like just a gift. Sometimes, when the market gives you a gift, you just take it. So, when you see these markets, sometimes the market will open 300 points higher or 500 points lower. Then, I'm trying to picture out, if the market opens, higher into a stock that, like I'm looking to short, then, I might just sell into that opening from, an instrument that I'm looking to short. So it's hard to explain all of this, but, why did you choose to go for stock for CRD instead of options? So I did look at the options, and the options were kind of expensive. So I was looking at the 195s, and they were like $4 or something like that. So, I'll show you. I buy options that are really cheap. When I say cheap versus, first off, today is Wednesday, so we only have 2 more trading days left. So if you buy options, it's very tricky now. Now, if I buy for another week forward, then they get very expensive. And when I say expensive, it's what I'm looking for in an option. Like yesterday, I bought those Dow Jones puts for like $1.08, and I got out at 450. So I make 400% on that thing. And so by making 400%, it allows me to take the shots on other things that I'm going to lose all of my money on. So I don't want to pay $4 for an option. And if I pay $4, then, in order to make 4 to 1, that stock's going to go up $16. So I don't know that this thing's going up $16 by Friday. So I just bought the stock. But it's a good question. Like Lyft, I bought a whole bunch of options on the close because I bought some options for like 70 cents. The $52 calls for 70 cents. So this thing just has to go to $53, in the next 2 days. And I think it will do that. So again, this wasn't really, one of the signals that I talked to you about where I wait for the daily close and I wait for, but now, there is a daily close. So now you have the pattern, you have the inside bar, and you have the setup. So forget what I did today. I'm talking about this as a setup, where I think, you could buy CRWD and have a good shot for this thing to go higher. So again, what I'm just trying to do is show you conceptually, doesn't matter what the chart is, euro yen, pound New Zealand, gold. I just look at price action and try and get in sync to, what the market is telling me. And I've been it's been frightening, how I've been catching these moves. Sometimes on the tennis court, you just see the ball as big as a watermelon. I just am seeing the markets. I'm just seeing the patterns. I'm seeing the reversals, and it just, and then I'm getting out of trades that, look like they're not going to work. I was short Tesla just before the close, and it started looking like it was going to trade stronger. So I just got out. I was making a whole bunch of money, and I ended up taking a small loss by the time I got out. But I just, got out of that and moved to the next one. So I think there's just like a whole bunch of trades. That's why I think the market's going to go higher because, there's just all kinds. I was also long CRM, Salesforce. I put this on my menu on my trades 2 days ago. And it's the same thing as CRWD, where you have a double bottom in one time frame. So this tells you, like Pound New Zealand made this double bottom in December and then went and did all this kind of stuff, and now it's going to go there. And so this is the distraction. So once you see the pattern, this is the gift when it kind of comes back into the area again. This is like, a cup and handle, whatever you want to call it. But this double bottom gives you the safety of telling you that the bottom is somewhere in here. And then you have this kind of inverted head and shoulders here. And, you're just breaking through the highs. And now I just think there's just a lot of blue sky to travel here. So I wanted to buy so many of these stocks on the close. I bought Snow, I bought CRM, I bought CRWD, I bought Lyft, I bought the QQQ. So I guess I think I'm gonna, these things are gonna go higher. This was Snow, SNOW. I've been shorting this name for a long time. And now it's starting to tell me that, maybe it's time to get on the other side of it. So this is SNOW. And for months, I was telling our members that this thing's going to go down, that there was this double top. So once I understood that there was this double top, every time this thing like QS and Zoom and all these things, I would just short these rallies. But that was then, and this is now. Now it looks like, and I said in my weekly video report this Sunday that it looks like all of these names are starting to turn. Zoom, Peloton, all of that, all of the stuff that was coming down for the last 4 or 5 months, now I think is a buy. So all of a sudden you had this rounding bottom. I wasn't quite sure, but here you have the key reversal today. I just bought this on the close. Made a new low. It's actually an outside key reversal because it took out both the high and low of the previous day. So it looks like you've got a turn in momentum, and then you have this reversal pointing in the direction it wants to go. But when I see these reversals, I know I can take a peek. If, I get in here, and even if it doesn't work out, I don't think I'm going to get crucified. I don't think like tomorrow, it's going to be down there. You just don't go from one reversal to another. So sometimes these reversals give you a free look, and I may not be right. It may just kind of hang out here. It may not work. And then I'll get out and, I'll take my losses and see what, but it looks like the energy is starting to turn, and it looks like this was a bear trap. So if you chase these lows, now you're stuck and steaming. And this, once they change, it could come out of here with a vengeance. And so I just started buying all of these things on the close, even though yesterday I said, I was, bearish the market. Now a whole bunch of names, came down. And so, I just try and get in sync with whatever the market's telling me. And the market has been, the stock market has been doing these rotations every day, value to growth to momentum and back. And so, instead of, having your head spin, wait for the market to tell you something. You have a slight little double bottom here, and now you have this key reversal. And same thing with Zoom, did the same thing. I know I'm going all over the place. Where I was short Zoom for, weeks and weeks and weeks. And then last week, I saw it put on this little double bottom. So it was like that silver trade that I told you, where I ignored that little, reversal. So you can see that was your first inclination that things had some support. And then you came back and did the same thing here. So you had two of these, guys stop in the same area. And then you had, made a new low, close on the high, made a new low, close on the high. So, I've learned, as much as I thought Zoom was going to go much lower, the market told me, change, your thought pattern very quickly. And so you can see we had a small key reversal today, made a new high, close on the absolute low. And I think, we go higher out of here.
Hey, Mark. So Mark Shiverny is asking, when you put a buy stop for the next day, can't the market do a bull fake in the pre-market and advertently put you into the trade that goes the other way when the market opens?
So if you put in a buy stop for the day session, it will not trigger you in the pre-market session. No. once the market opens, in the regular session, then you get triggered.
Okay, and Eludin is because I know you don't give recommendations about which brokers to work with, but could you give some recommendations on how someone can do research on a good broker?
Well, I don't know where you are in the world, but put stockbroker, put forex broker, and put regulated, and look for somebody who has a history and reputation. Look at reviews. So we have people, like you said, Dwight, from all over the world. I don't know where they are. I don't know, in what geographies, they will be permitted to trade. But like Interactive Brokers, has a worldwide presence. I know in Australia and the UK and in the US, you could trade with Interactive Brokers, and so you can trade any instrument under the sun with them. But I don't know, so I don't. You can do that research, I'm sure, pretty much on your own. Just look for regulated broker. Now, I'm talking a lot about U.S. stocks, and so maybe some places in the world they just won't offer certain U.S. names. But what I'm really trying to show you through these sessions is whether or not you trade this or you have this, is kind of how to look at the markets just from a price standpoint. So, today we had a Federal Reserve statement. We have all kinds of shifts as to what's happening with inflation. Is it real? Is it transitory? Where are interest rates going? What's the Fed going to do? Stocks overvalued, and you have all of this stuff swimming around. And what I'm trying to do and show you is that I just reduce it to a picture. I just look at everything that's in front of you. So there is no volume here. There are no Bollinger Bands. There are no, MACD moving averages. So I'm not looking at any of that. What you're looking at here is a clean chart with price and time. And it could be corn, it could be orange juice, it could be the euro yen. I'm just showing you how I analyze trades purely and objectively. So, down here, I really thought, Zoom broke this thing, and I actually thought this thing was going to go much lower. That was my thought. But then I have to observe what the market's telling me. And this is what I didn't do in 1982 when, silver was going up and up and up. And then I saw this small key reversal. And in my mind, it closed here, and I said, well, it gapped open, and it's just a small thing, and it's still, got the integrity thing. And then the next day it opened here, and then the next day it opened there. And so I've learned my lesson that, you have to heed the signs of the warning. It doesn't matter what I think. I told you yesterday I was looking to short the market, and I had a certain objective in mind, and that objective was filled right on the opening. And now it was a different story. It opened lower and then just went higher throughout the day and closed on the high of the day. So now you have a key reversal in the direction of the main trend. You have all of these technology stocks that have been beaten up now that have got these patterns and reversals. And now I think you can get one of these, surprise moves to the other side, because the market, is now have written a lot of these stocks off. One of the stocks that I made a ton of money on recently, and and then it just got beat up. And I think that is just an opportunity, and that is in Lyft. So I showed you the huge double bottom on Lyft on the weekly, and so this is LYFT. Let me just blow it up. I have other charts that probably make it look better. They're a little bit more brilliant, but I don't know if they obscure the price where I can't see it as well as. So I don't know if this one is better. Is that better? Do you guys like that better than this? Or does it matter? I mean, can you see?
I like the blue and red. Looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, it just sometimes the bars are so bright and obscured you can't see them as clearly as the bars that are set out in the other chart. And that's really what I try and point out. So at this juncture, and you can't see it on this chart, you had a huge double bottom. Market came careening down here. Then you had this double bottom. And then to me, that was just a buy, based on that huge double bottom. So this was my governing cheat pattern. I was saying to my wife back in December, I said, this is the greatest thing. I was just salivating and I was taking a whole bunch of shots in here and lost some money, thinking it was going to go higher in here. And then it came down here. And to me, that was just, a gift. And it was right here where I saw this double bottom. And you can't, again, that's why I don't really like these charts. You can't see it as well. There's a little inside day bar right there. So I put, buy stop right there. I bought the stock and I bought the $46 calls and I bought the $47 calls. I bought the $46 calls for 92 cents. It closed at $53. I made 700% on that move on those calls, 600% on those calls, and a bunch of money on the stock. And then I held the stock all the way up there. So, I just made a ton of money on Lyft all the way up here. And then, it stalled out and then had this, huge move down. And to me, I just think that, it's just another gift. I think, we're going to go back up again. I don't know how far, but here you can see again, another key reversal day where you made a new low, close on the high. So I just bought the call options. I bought the $42, $52 calls today for 70 cents. And, so all this has to do is go to 52.70 in the next 2 days. So if this has a nice explosive up move, and I made, I did the same thing on Uber 2 days ago where I bought some calls at 27 cents and got out at $1.70. So again, you can see all of the reversals in all of these stocks today. So even though the market opened much lower, by the end of the day, these dogs that have been whacked now are showing some life. And so I went long all of these names: Lyft, CRM, Snow, CRWD, and then calls on the QQQs. So if tomorrow the stock market goes down, I'm going to get murdered. So Mustafa said I was there with you on Lyft. So yeah, I think that, this is going to get some kind of lift off out of here. And again, we kind of have this stealth pattern. It's a little inverted head and shoulders, but really the whole thing, the whole menu is set right here. So once you kind of understand what's going on long term, then, you see these things as opportunities. When the market comes careening 500, points lower, then, you find the stocks or the instruments or something. So this to me, tells me the whole ball game, that over time, this thing is going to find a way to go up. And, again, things tend to break out and then retrench and retest the neckline. And then when they go up, they go up with a vengeance. So you can see already within the context. So here was your double bottom. And so this to me is my context. So when I saw this coming careening down in late January, I was drooling. And when I see this, the only thing that I said earlier in the week is when something comes down so fast, I don't know that it comes up as quickly. It kind of needs to build some space, but I have a feeling that you could get something out of here. I bought these calls with, $2, 2 days to expire. So this thing goes $2 higher, I'm going to be gone on those calls. But already yesterday, this last week, you kind of had this reversal, made a new low. And while it didn't turn blue, it closed closer to the high of the weekly. So you had a reversal last week. So here's the pattern, here's the reversal. And that's, to my mind, the anticipated trajectory. Now, because of the way it came down, you might have to, build some space here. But I do think this is going to find a way to go back up. And it could go up very quickly. Johannes, I haven't looked at gold, but I think we're already hour and a half into it. So I think maybe I'll just take some questions here, Dwight.
Most of the people are asking if you can comment on different charts, getting Peloton, Tesla, Uber.
Yeah. So look, I don't want this to turn into a whole thing here. Really, what I'm trying to do is trying to give you guys a set of tools to interpret charts. And, there's hundreds of thousands of charts we could go into. And, so this actually Peloton is really probably a great, I'm not sure what I did here.
Someone had asked earlier if you're still, or if you're completely out of WRK.
No, I'm still long with WRK. So this is Peloton, and somehow I shifted it so you can't quite see the, okay, that's good enough. So just a few weeks ago, my thinking was that Peloton was going to break really hard. I was shorting QuantumScape, Zoom, Peloton, and Beyond Meat. Those four were like, those were on my thing, and I was just always shorting them. So, up here was the double top Head and Shoulders that told you right here that this thing was ready to crap out and turn in reverse, at 150. And then we went to $80. So, these patterns, they point in a direction. How long they last, it really depends. And then if you look back and look at this thing and say, well, isn't this a giant Head and Shoulders, just like pound versus New Zealand dollar? Well, it is, but then, let's look and see what the market is doing. So you can see the market did bust through the neckline here. Neckline is simply, the line drawn through the pattern here. And, we did have some follow through, but now you're above the neckline. And so now this looks like a bear trap under here that if you chase this, now, it could go the other way very quickly. So, I've learned that, you can see these patterns in a textbook, and you look at a textbook and you look back and you see that, in the textbook, the market's there. But, real life, it can also go there. And so if this keeps going up, this will turn into what's called a busted price pattern, where it'll start busting the implications of this. Now, it's still kind of early days. This may just be, a reaction before we go back down. But I started bailing out of my Peloton for the same reason I started getting out of Zoom and everything and QuantumScape, is because the market started to tell me in a very subtle way, there was a key reversal there. It made a new low, an absolute new low for the move, and close on the high. Now, it's a small range day, but I've learned that those little range days can be very sneaky. But then you had another one right at the same thing, made a new low, close at the high. So now you have a double bottom with this key reversal price action. And so this starts telling me that, this is, not going down anymore. I don't know if this is the greatest buy on earth, but, I think that it stopped going down, and what doesn't go down, goes the other way. So this looks like a trap where, I've been, for the last several months campaigning this on the downside, but that was then, and this is now. Now I'm long all of these stocks. So I just surrender to the will of the market. I don't question why. Why is things changing? Why was it going down, for 3 months, the last 3 months, and now it's going up? I don't care. I just want to set up a trade, risk and reward. And so once you understand that this thing's now going up, here you have your inside day bar. Today's range was inside yesterday's range. So path of least resistance now looks higher. So the way I would play this is I would just simply sneak in a buy stop here, put your stop loss somewhere down here. This is your risk. And you try and see if you can justify a 2, 3, 4 to 1 risk reward. And, probably looks like you could come back and hit that gap, which is $15 away. So you could set up a 3 to 1 risk reward trade. I can see these things starting to go higher now, even though for the last 3 months, I've been telling everyone this is a short. So Larry says, I love your variety on the direction changes. Pay attention to what's going on. So I look at the market. I might have, all kinds of Alzheimer, boiling around in my brain, and probably do, but I just look and see what the market's telling me. Now, here's the thing. And this is why I look at the larger references. This market was telling you all along here that this was really a support level. So again, if you pay attention, made a new low, close on the high, made a new low, close on the high, made a new low, close on the high, right at this area here. And then the market goes and it takes that out. But, these guys were telling you that there was a lot of support. So all that happened was guys who chased it here are going to get hurt. So the market points and, does all kinds of things. And I've just kind of learned to use a lot of what the market tells you to try and determine when it's going to change, how far it's going to go, what the potential resistance levels are. And, I can't compress all of that into, one of these things. I mean, 1,000 things go on in my mind when, I'm trading. And so when I see CrowdStrike open down $8 today, I'm like going, oh, it's like sometimes you can't believe that the market is just handing you this gold. I made about 80 grand in about an hour. I like that, Pedro. Mr. Market Shawson. I like that. I might have to use that.
Hey, Mark. So I'm not going to try to pronounce all these names, but he'd like you to share how did you manage your emotion from going to check your trade almost every hour?
Well, look, I kind of say just look at the daily setups. And if you just, you could trade this, like I said, on a daily setup where I think that this is bottomed, and you could just put your buy stop here and your sell stop there, your take profit up here, and then not check it until 4 o'clock tomorrow, again. So, I, saw the market this morning was going to open five. My whole thing was to short the market today in a higher opening. I thought based on the way we reversed yesterday, in the QQQs, that, typically when you close on the low of such a high range day, and again, these bars are not as, let me see if I can make that a little clearer.
Also, which market sessions do you use to enter your trades? New York session or London?
Well, so this is New York. So this is QQQs, and they open at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, and they close in the day session at 4:30. They're trading right now. The triple Qs are trading right now. In fact, I'd like to see where they're trading because I've got a long position. So you can see they close at 322.5, and they're trading right around there. And you can see that CrowdStrike is pretty much trading where it closed. Let's see, CRM is closing a little lower than where it closed. Lyft is closing, can't really tell. So it's trading right now. You could trade the aftermarket session and the triple Qs right now, but the charts that I look at are all New York close. So this is what I was looking at yesterday, where, coming into this thing because of the preceding, pattern and trajectory, and then this reversal, I anticipated that, we had to go lower, somewhere into this, area here. And my whole game plan coming in today was this elastic band thing where I thought we would open a little bit higher. I thought because we closed on the very low, I thought we would open higher. And then my whole intention was to short that and look for something like that. But instead, this thing had other ideas and just opened on the very low right into the support. So it opened right there. So I'm not going to start shorting it right down here. You had this huge gap, this morning. So, you got a picture between yesterday's close and this opening. This didn't really exist. So this is what it looked like on the opening. So, it closed right there and then opened right there. I'm not going to short into that. So I just, kind of thought, well, I started just taking my profits. Took my profits on Tesla. I took my profits on the Dow Jones, and then I bought CrowdStrike on that low. And then I didn't know what we were going to happen today. I didn't know if we were going to, I thought we would go higher from these lows. I didn't know we were going to, close like this. And even closing like this, I would say you really can't trade these reversals in a vacuum, because now I got to, picture this thing kind of going through all of this stuff here. And it's just the way these individual stocks closed. Lyft, CrowdStrike, CRM, they all close on the high. And so this is kind of telling me that, this is still kind of intact here. You can see that every time that, we made a new low, close on the high, made a new low, close on the high, made a new low, close on the high, made a new low, close on the high. And then, so whenever we do this, we tend to go and make new highs again. So I'm not going to second guess this. I kind of thought we were coming down, but this is just kind of bullish action here. You can't really argue with that. I'm not going to stand in the face of that and short it. Although there are certain stocks like QuantumScape and Beyond Meat that still look terrible. So, this is a market of stocks. There's still certain stocks that I would short. I mean, Beyond Meat looks terrible. This is an inside bar, and I would short this, BYND. QuantumScape today had a bad, Mustafa, you asked me yesterday if I would short QuantumScape, and it just didn't have something that, a bar that I could see. But, this is a stock that's probably going to go lower. So today, and it's hard to see on this one, that's why I don't use these charts as much. So here you have, this is QuantumScape. This is in a huge downtrend. So despite what the indexes do, this is probably still going to go lower. So you had this little inside bar today. And the way I would play this is I would sneak a sell stop under the low. The only thing is, you've got this little obstruction to get through here. So this isn't probably the best play of it could be a trap down here, but if you put a sell stop and this thing, keeps going higher, you won't. So all I'm saying is that certain stocks like this look terrible. Beyond Meat looks terrible, but other stocks like CrowdStrike and CRM and some of the better stocks, still look really good. INTU, there's just all of them. You can see this thing's making a new high, a key reversal into an all-time new high, INTU. So, it's a very different looking chart from QuantumScape. This thing's trending higher, QuantumScape's trending lower. So I'm going to short a stock that's going to go down and buy a stock that's going to go up. So Natalia,
we got a comment from Marco.
Education. What?
We have a comment from Marco Perovich saying he made 6K shorting Japan index today based on pattern, thanks to your strategy.
Oh, cool. So, yeah, it's just, I play this game, the slalom game all day long with all of these instruments. I don't really care what it is, as long as I can understand a risk-reward relationship. So here you have a key reversal, made a new low, close at the high. You've got a double bottom here. So if you buy it here and put your stop here, chances are you're going to probably get paid. And if you're not, you move on to the next one.
Neil Holiday is asking on QuantumScape, would you wait for an insurance bar?
Well, today you did have an insurance bar. So today you did. You had an inside day bar. So this is what I would do. Although, sometimes again, you have to see a clear path, where a market kind of, creates a little separation from its prior, obstruction here. And it creates a little, space so that it can fall. I can't really explain it very well. When the market goes up, it has to build some space so that it can fall. Goes up, builds some space so it can fall. So this, yeah, it's gone up, but it's kind of got this stuff there. And look, I would, put a sell. So all I would do, so here's the insurance day bar. So today's bar from high to low sits within the prior day. So this to me is a coil bar, an inside day bar. And all I would do is put a sell stop right under that low. and the nice thing about these small bars is that's your risk and that's your reward. So look, I mean, there's so many places to go. I see so many things. It kind of drives me crazy. And I went home. I usually just try and focus in, one or two trades. Today I just took the whole menu home. All right. So what are we doing today, Dwight? Do you want to play that video again? What I'd really like you guys to do, if you would, if you felt like you got some value, or even if you didn't, please give me.
Do you still have time for a few more questions, Mark?
Yeah, I'll take a few more questions. But really, what I would appreciate, since hopefully I've given you guys some time and input. I know everybody, from Starbucks to everybody asks for reviews. It's a pain in the ass, but we always have like one guy or two guys that, percolate on all of my webinars. I haven't looked at what the YouTube people are saying, Dwight, but there's always people who percolate and say, this is just a scam. And then they go on our review website and they, put bad reviews. And, so I would like you guys, if you feel, just tell people what you got, what your experience was. You can say, I had a bad experience and please tell me why. And I learned from that. And if you had a good experience, just don't say this was excellent. Just if you can elaborate so that, I can understand if what I'm explaining is resonating, because sometimes I don't know if what I'm sharing really is coming across.
Few people are saying you are the horse's mouth.
So AJ says those reviews almost made me not come. So see, that's the thing. So that's really why I would appreciate you offsetting that, because there's always a subsect of people saying, well, you don't show your account. This is just a scam. Well, first off, I've been saying, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, what I thought of the market. And then you can see Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, exactly what happened in real time. So hard to say that's a misrepresentation. Colin says, I have a really small account. I want to shake your hand. You're a gentleman. So Colin, every journey starts with a single step. So if you do the right things, I've taken $300 to 10 grand in a short space of time, many times.
Mark, do you ever get into option spreads?
Yes. I don't really want to dig into the weeds now on that. Really what I'm trying to do is, convey my methodology. But, sometimes if a market has a certain boundary, I'll buy out of the money, I'll sell out of the money puts and out of the money calls and take in the premium. But that's just for another day.
Okay, another, maybe a question that's probably just an interesting, fun question. How many screens do you use?
How many screens?
Yeah.
Like how many monitors? I have probably a half a dozen broker accounts. So, and I have different, so for my, kind of money that I don't want to risk like I'm doing every day, I have it, just in, just boring stuff like Costco and IYR and SPG and things that get, a yield and, can get me some kind of return. And I just leave those there. I have my FX accounts, and then, I have my stupid accounts.
Okay, we have a question from over on Facebook, asking if you offer one-on-one coaching.
Yeah, in fact, I think, Dwight, if you show the video today, we talk about it's coaching in a group. And then actually, if you join the elite, we do, segregate time for one-on-one. In fact, I'm doing a one-on-one on Monday. So yes, on certain occasions, I do one-on-ones. And then what we're offering, and Dwight, maybe you can play that video again today. Do you have that?
Sure. Yeah, I have it.
So we actually, the video talks about getting you on the track to make, $5,000 trades. And in order to have a $5,000 trade, you probably need to have 200 grand in your account. So what we're trying to do is show you how to build a plan to get to a 200 grand account. And then part of that also, I guess also offers, I don't even know what we offer, to tell you the truth, a group coaching session. And I did one of those last week. In fact, I'm doing one next week. So I am doing where we're in much smaller groups, and then I take everybody's individual question. So Roland says, this looks like learning how to read music. It looks like complete jumble until you get it. And so I can completely appreciate that. Like I said, if I were to open up, a screen of the pound versus New Zealand dollar, and I told you this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, I would think, you're just high. This just looks like, a carnival ride, up and down and all over the place. But to me, I guess beauty's in the eye of the beholder. This is found money. This is like walking down the road and finding a bag of, $3 grand in the ditch there. That's what this thing looks like to me.
All right. It's okay. Neil is saying it's mainly folks from the US or around the world. In UK, we do not have options put.
So Johannes, I would really appreciate if you would kind of, copy and paste this in our reviews website, because Johannes said I was skeptical and I thought it was a scam after I read some article online. But now I've been following Mark for 6 months and have nothing but good things to say about him. He's very transparent. I've been scammed in the past, which caused me to lose my hard-earned. And actually, this is why I started the Pattern Trader. Peter was actually begging me. He said, you have to. There's so many scams out there. And for 3 years, I said, piss off. I'm not interested. And then I went on and saw all the misrepresentation. I saw all the garbage that is being, taught out there. And I'm not saying, I have the greatest thing since sliced bread, but, I built this little thing. And if you follow it, I think you'll make money over time. Now, I've just been in the sweet spot where, since late January, I haven't done anything wrong. But then, sometimes the whole summer it goes very quiet. And that's kind of the nice thing about following all of these markets, is because sometimes the dollar, the dollar will go very quiet, or FX will go very quiet. And then I'll look at gold, or I'll look at the NASDAQ. There's always a bull market somewhere, even if a market's going down. So Giannis, I would really appreciate if you would kind of just copy and paste that and put in my review website. Actually, I didn't put the, I don't think, did I put it in?
Yeah, you did, but you can go ahead and do it again.
Okay. I don't see the YouTube site. Dwight, can you put that in the YouTube site also?
Sure. So Daniel Vasquez says, I've checked every program in town and I'm finally home.
So fantastic, Daniel. Again, if you guys would leave, some feedback, put something in the tip jar, I would really appreciate it. I know it's a pain in the butt. Everybody in the world asks you for a review. We'd spend all our days leaving reviews if we fulfilled everybody, but it really, helps me, helps others. And we just have these persistent people that just, and you have to understand when people are calling me a scammer, what they're trying to do is they're trying to draft off my traffic. So if you look under the Pattern Trader, there's a whole bunch of sublinks that says the Pattern Trader in it, like the Pattern Trader schools or something. And they're all scams where they are trying to disparage and impugn my reputation by saying a whole bunch of lies. And then you scroll forward and then they're trying to sell you another FX system. So what they're trying to do is take people who are interested in, FX or whatever, all my traffic, then impugn my credibility and then sell them something else. So you have to understand there's an angle to all of these things. And there's a reason why one guy, we keep on getting, all our reviews are through Trustpilot, which, is an independent, it's the most highly valued thing you can do. It's fully transparent. We cannot alter, what people say here. And so, everything is on Trustpilot, and you can go and read. And I'm sure underneath here, there's always going to be something in red. Actually, they're all pretty green. So we have to total waste of time. I've lost my money on every trade he's recommended. He has a stinking attitude. Is this really what you're looking for? So I've lost money on every trade he's recommended. I don't know how that's possible, but I've showed you my trades in real time. And again, it's not about the trades. It's about, getting this way of looking at it, and then you can do your own trades. So,
Mark, Pedro is asking if someone with a small account should email you for the 200K challenge.
Well, just, I think show the video, Dwight, and I think I think it's like what Mark, RSV at Mark Shawson, RSVP at gmail.com or something. It tells you in the video. So I think the email is, if you want to get on at gmail.com, and then just put in the sub thing, let's do it. My team will know what, and that will, get you into the $200,000 plan. I just want to share with you, this guy's saying, I've lost money on every trade, he's recommended. And then, my team says, I'm a little confused because at the time of your review, we had 6 open trades and all of them were in profit. These trades were entered on April 26th through May 4th. I mean, one of the most robust periods I've had. In fact, I think I have an alt. So here is, let me make sure my email's not on here. Here is my email of May 10th. And so at that time, I was, talking about a break in Tesla of this major line at $635. And we're $100 lower than that. And that was 10 days ago, or I don't know how, what is today? Like 9 days ago. So you could have made $100 on Tesla off this email. This went out May 10th, Monday. And these are the positions I was in. I was short Canadian dollar. I was short QuantumScape stock at $38.75. Today it's trading at whatever, $27. I was short an additional QuantumScape. I was short Zoom stock, which was up $18. Long the euro yen and long silver. And I was, I use pips metaphorically, for stock profits also, just to, make an apples to apples comparison. But these were the trades you would have been in the period that guy's saying I never got a winning trade. So that's what we encounter. And so this is, your review really helps me offset that. Colin says, I wouldn't waste your time on idiots. The problem is, Colin, is that a lot of people like Johannes come to my website and then they see all the sublinks under my website and accuse me of being a scammer. So it would really help me if you guys would just offset that. And I would really like to hear from you anyways. I mean, whether you got good, bad, or indifferent, it just helps me, do better for the next time. So Nicholas says, what program advisory would you get me into these trades? So Nick, go ahead. We'll play the video. Dwight, I'll take another couple questions, and then in 5 minutes you can play the video, and then you guys can see the video and see how to kind of get. We're not trying to get you full started all at once. We're just trying to show you how you can dip your toe in the water, and then if you're interested, we can share with you our other programs.
All right. Mohammed is asking, how much capital do you need to trade stocks?
So if anywhere you start, you could buy one share. There's a lot of brokers now that will allow you to do fractional shares. So, I showed you a setup in CrowdStrike. It's whatever, $220, or I don't even know how much it was. Some of them are $300, and you can do fractional shares. So again, if you have a small account, you want to risk 1% of $1,000, that's $10. You buy just a fractional share. of something. So by the way, you can see that pound New Zealand is starting to go higher in the second session here. So wherever you start, just get started. Every journey starts with a single step. You can start with taking pound New Zealand, on micro lots. So you can start somewhere. And everyone, gets intimidated because they see that I'm playing with big money. And I think this is really the myth, is that I'm trying to show you how to take, giant moves out of the market, make 1,000 pips. And then I think automatic people are intimidated because they say, I don't have a big enough account to take, to take advantage of 1,000 pip move. And, say that that's complete bollocks. And, I showed you yesterday on this risk calculator, and I'll put this position size calculator in the chat box again, because it doesn't matter what size account, the size of move to get it doesn't mean you have to have a huge account. This shows you that if you just have $2,000 and you want to risk 1.5%, or even let's say 0.75%, you hit the count, and this tells you your lot size. So guess what? Even if you risk 200 pips in pound New Zealand and you got whacked out on that stop loss, you'd lose 15 bucks of your 2,000 and live to fight another day. So it's not, please don't be intimidated if you have $1,000 or $2,000 to get started. The whole thing is education, right? The whole thing is understanding what this represents, so that when you get your trading account, or life presents you with better circumstances, you'll have the knowledge to take that to another level. And so really what I try and provide is the knowledge, and then you have to say to yourself, well, how much is that knowledge worth? And to me, knowledge is worth an infinite amount. If I could have short-circuited the last 40 years and somebody could have come to me and said, you were making all these stupid mistakes for 40 years and you could have been so much further ahead, I would have loved that. So risk is a function of knowledge. It looks like I'm reckless. It looks like I'm taking these monster trades, these monster things. But to me, there was no risk this morning when I saw CrowdStrike. My wife is in the room, and I try not to talk about trading or telling her what I'm doing. And I was just so excited. But when this thing opened down here, I said, this is just manna from heaven, because I said, it's just not going to go through all of this junk here. So this is probably a better chart to demonstrate. So this morning, when this thing opened right here and it closed right there, now I had to say to myself, okay, it opened there. Can I see this thing going through all of this stuff? So if I can't see it going lower, then it's going to do what? It's going to go higher. Now it's pretty, scary when you see, the Q's down 600 and the Dow down 500, and I put 1.7 million into this trade. I put way more because I bought an equivalent amount on another broker. So I just went all in. I bought 9,000 shares right there, 191. And while the market was falling to pieces, all the announcers on the TV were, saying, Bitcoin was down 20%. Everything was down today. So now, pretty scary when you're saying, and that's the thing about trader. This is a lonely business. You got to walk in a room where everybody's saying sell, and you got to, have the conviction to say buy. Now, you don't, just have it if you're having delusions, but if it's a buy. And so this is, it's life is perception and reality. So there was perception, that this was, huge risk. And to me, the reality was that this is just, was an unbelievable trade.
All right. It doesn't look like we have any more questions, Mark. So,
okay, Dwight, why don't you go ahead and
play the video?
Play the video, and then I'll see you guys for a wrap-up session tomorrow, 4:30 a.m. 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, Dwight, thanks very much.
All right, video's coming up.
Hi guys, this is Mark Shawson, the Pattern Trader. And what you're seeing here is a still image from a video I recently released on YouTube. In this video, I showed live statements of how I made $177,858.13 in just 48 hours. After releasing this video, I read the comments beneath it, and they shocked me, but probably not for the reason you think. For example, a Trader's Life said, "Wow, I can't even imagine having that degree of success." It turns out that not many traders make $170,000 in profits from their trades. In fact, to my surprise, the majority of traders aren't even making $5,000 on any given trade. So I've decided to run an experiment with a select group of traders. I wrote an email to my list and asked them one question. I didn't think many would be interested in this, but to my absolute shock and surprise, 1,126 people wanted in on this experiment. I got over 1,000 responses to this question, and some of them wrote really long answers. The comments you see on the screen right now is just a small handful of them. You're probably wondering what got those traders so excited. Let me continue reading the email I sent them. Why on earth are so few traders not even making the bare minimum of $5,000 per profitable trade? And last night, the answer hit me like a ton of bricks. People are following me online, watching videos, taking trades, but there is still something missing. So I came up with a plan, an experiment. To make the bare minimum of $5,000 per profitable trade, you need about $200,000 in your trading account. So I've decided that I want to take on between 10 and 20 traders and give them a customized plan to reach a $200,000 trading account. And then I would execute that plan alongside with them. However, this idea is still in its infancy. I need to know whether or not people are even interested in something like this. My gut feeling is that most traders are just in it for the rush, the gambling, the action, the 5-minute charts. They're not in it for the long haul, a multi-year plan that'll actually get them to a minimum of a $200,000 trading account. So if you are a trader who would like to know exactly what it takes to grow your trading account to $200,000 at a bare minimum, and you want to find out what happened next in this experiment, then pay close attention to this short video. In fact, by watching this video all the way to the end, you'll end up discovering how to get your own very customized plan to achieve a $200,000 trading account. A plan that doesn't require you to jump from one guru to the next using weak trading systems. A plan that uses a scientifically tested trading method to reach 200,000, and one that makes it mathematically impossible to lose your entire trading account. The shocking truth is that you've been lied to when it comes to making big money in the markets. And those lies have all but destroyed your chances to reach the success you desire. You may have heard, or perhaps even believed at one point, that you can make a huge amount of money in the Forex and stock markets. And to do that, you were told you simply need to find out the secrets of some trading guru or system. And these secret methods are hidden, just out of reach. And when you finally find the right person that will reveal their secret trading method, you'll be financially free. Unfortunately, that's nowhere near the truth. Just know this, countless other smart men and women have fallen victim to this rather clever lie. Penny stock secrets, Bitcoin secrets, a trading robot running some secret Forex algorithm, Wall Street secrets. These secrets are the reason you've been struggling. The truth and the fact of the matter is that making big piles of cash in the markets is no secret. Here is how the world of trading secrets really works. A fund manager or a group of traders on Wall Street use a strategy that makes money. They want to raise money from investors, but those investors don't trust the group of traders. So they bring in a data scientist with a PhD in the subject to verify the particular strategy. And this is what happens next. 1, they need to strictly define the parameters of the trading system. 2, they then test the strategy using a data set. 3, they write a paper about it and explain the limitations. 4, this paper is ultimately peer-reviewed by other data scientists to see if the results are statistically valid and true. Number 5, even more data scientists read about this strategy in a journal and try and replicate their results in all sorts of different markets. So there are no real secrets. Everything is out in the open. For example, Gutierrez and Kelly are 2 data scientists who confirmed you need to trade on the daily, weekly, and monthly time frames. Predicting the general direction of the market with scientifically tested trading patterns is well established by countless other data scientists, including Friesen et al., Lowe et al., and Foltys and Langer, where you enter, exit, and everything else about a trade is already out in the open. So why on earth do you think I spend so much time revealing my secrets for free on YouTube and Zoom? Because they aren't secrets and I have nothing to hide. It's the same as every other job in the world if you think about it. Take a plumber, for example. The information you need to become a person who fixes pipes is well established. It's not some secret hidden by a few select plumbers who are ready to spill the beans. However, if you give me a book or an online course and send me in to fix somebody else's pipes, I assure you I will fall flat on my face, no matter how many plumbing secrets you give me, and that's the big truth. To become an incredible trader who makes piles of cash, you need to follow a proven formula. And then you need to stick to it. And if you do, you may be able to look at your broker account and see things like this. Right now, making about 158 grand on the FX side. This is $1.5 million dollar position. I'm making over $157,000 currently. You can see that I've got 2 positions. I'm making over about $500,000 in gold and long pound New Zealand, short the NASDAQ. It is possible, but it is not sexy. It takes time, it takes commitment, and it takes consistency. Just like it takes time, commitment, and consistency to become a decent plumber, electrician, or accountant. Deep down, I think you already knew this truth. Deep down, you always knew that it was possible to make a living from trading, and you always knew that it would take a serious commitment to get it right. That's what happened when I sent this email. My gut feeling is most traders are just in it for the gambling, the action, and the 5-minute charts. Not for the long haul, a multi-year plan that'll actually get them to a minimum account size of $200,000. I realized that I was wrong, and it turns out 1,126 traders are exactly like you. Tired of gambling, tired of jumping from system to system, tired of not knowing what's around the corner, tired of falling for somebody else's secrets. So my experiment involved 2 things. 1, I would personally oversee a customized multi-year plan for each trader that shows them how to get to a $200,000 trading account. A plan that takes into consideration their income, account balance, and other circumstances. They would get an exact timeline of when they would hit $200,000. And they would know precisely what to do and when to do it, planned out with dates, amounts, and specific actions they need to take. 2, I would personally spend 3 days with them in an exclusive trading group. This was not a webinar. This was a live Zoom meeting. They got to speak to me and trade with me face to face. It was an intimate group trading marathon where we went into the markets together and looked at trades. They got to meet other traders who are in the exact same boat as them. No more sitting in the comments section waiting for me to answer questions or critique trades. They weren't one among 500 traders like usual. I chose 50 traders to personally coach. It was like we were all in the same room, able to talk and interact like human beings. And the feedback from this experiment was a lot better than I expected. Now, if you'd like to get your hands on a customized plan to get to $200,000 and a 3-day coaching marathon with me, just like the traders inside my initial experiment, then listen carefully. 1, send an email to Mark Schausen, RSVP, @gmail.com with the subject line 200K. 2, one of our team members will send you the rest of the details on how to sign up. However, before you jump off the video and decide to join us, I have to warn you, there are a subset of people who should not join. 1, someone who wants a quick fix. This is a multi-year plan. I don't do quick fixes. 2, someone who doesn't want to invest time and money into the program. I only want people who are going to take this very seriously. If you have a problem investing and taking risk, then that's fine, but this isn't for you. 3, someone who thinks in terms of months, not years. Again, trading takes time. If you tend to give up after 6 months, then I'm not the guy for you. It takes a lot of manpower and resources to deliver this program to you. The $200,000 plan will be customized to the specific circumstances of each person who joins, factoring in your current account size, income, etc. You will also get 3 intimate group coaching sessions with me where we go deep into the markets and enter trades together. This is a small, interactive meeting with me and a handful of other students. It's not like my other huge webinars. Therefore, there is a fee to join. This is not a free program. However, if you get everything mentioned in this program and you don't think it was worth it, I'll happily refund you the fee. So hop on board and get your customized plan to a $200,000 trading account. Pick my brains, take my trades while spending 3 days with me and a group of other traders. And after that, if you didn't like it, you'll get a cheery refund. That's as fair as I can make it. If that sounds good to you, then send an email to Mark Shawson, rsvp@gmail.com with the subject line 200K. And please don't forget, I can only take on a small